afternoon. Welcome to, or morning still. It is our work session, calling this to order. And we have one item today. It is the Small Business Parking Relief Program update. Staff needs some guidance for us. So, Matt?
Good morning, Council. Matthew Currier, Parking Manager for the City of Raleigh. Going to walk through a bit of an update today on our temporary downtown small business parking relief program. See if I can get going here. Walk through a little background, program update, some of our monthly account updates, and then some discussion. So as you'll remember, back on December 5th, Council authorized the temporary small business parking relief program. That was for restaurants, retailers, and personal service businesses. Think salons, barbershops, those types of businesses. The scope of the program was really for business owners and employees with a max of 10 passes per business. Council at that time allocated 100 parking passes for the program, and it was free. The location of the parking options are really at various city-owned downtown parking decks, and they will have 24/7 access. And the duration of the program was for 3 months, which ends March 31st of this year. Quick update on kind of a reminder on where those parking decks are. They're kind of scattered throughout downtown, and you see them with the letters here as well as the legend and the names on the left. Just a note, there are 3 that we didn't make eligible for the program. One of those was the Blunt Street parking deck because its hours aren't appropriate for this type of program. And then we removed Cabarrus Street parking deck as well as the Performing Arts parking deck because it didn't really make a lot of sense to have a cluster of 3 parking decks so close together. So we just utilized the Convention Center parking deck. Looks like we lost a slide here. However, a quick update on.
So we're not seeing your presentation.
I'm going to let them get it back up here. So we'll do a quick update by memory here. So the program was launched on January 6th of this year, which was Wednesday of 2 weeks ago. We sold out in 2 days. So on Friday, the 8th, we had sold through our 100 parking passes for this program. Within that, we supported 16 businesses for that 100. And then we have kind of additional applications that have come through for 9 businesses for an additional 62 parking spaces. So an update a little bit on our monthly parking cancellations. So as a reminder, these are our largest revenue source. And you can kind of see the kind of rapid increase in cancellations from May of last year through January up to date this year. It's our largest revenue source, and now we have kind of eclipsed 21% of total accounts being canceled. And then we have heard that there is a large downtown retailer, large downtown business that is expected to reduce quite a few of their accounts.
Hey, Matt, we cannot see your report. It's something up there from Housing and Neighborhoods.
Oh, I think they're working on getting it squared away right now.
Okay. Matt, could you just go over again the number of people that you have we have assisted so far, and then the number.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we have assisted 16 businesses with the initial 100 parking passes that were allotted for the program, and then we have 9 more businesses who have applied, but we've put them kind of in a holding pattern, given any potential expansion of the program, and those 9 businesses represent an ask of an additional 62 parking spaces. So, if you can see the monthly parking cancellation slide here, you can see again that it's increased. We're up to about 21% of our total accounts pre-COVID being canceled, and we have a large kind of customer expected to do a large reduction in accounts in the coming months. And then finally, a reminder kind of where we are, again, kind of with our COVID-19 impact. In FY20, fiscal year 20, we lost about $2.3 million. We're projecting at least a loss of $5 million this year. Our monthly accounts are down 21%. Our daily parkers are down 76%. No special event revenue, no 5 after 5 revenue. And then we know that Finance and Budget will be giving kind of a broader and larger update on kind of the impacts of COVID-19 and our kind of financial outlook in February. So kind of next steps in discussion for this would be to potentially not take action on expansion, choose to expand the program, and then if council would so like, we could discuss any funding options for the program.
Matt, I think there was a lot of interest in this program on behalf of the council, and we did spend quite a bit of time in council member Branch's committee discussing this. When you say discuss funding for the program, what does that mean?
Yeah, so at the moment there hasn't been any funding specifically allocated for this program to mitigate any of the revenue losses associated with these accounts.
So the people who are taking advantage of this program, have they gotten rid of accounts and then using this instead?
We have seen that to a small extent. As of today, we've seen 11 monthly accounts canceled, and kind of exchanged for being a part of this program through March. We do expect some more. We know there's about 40 monthly accounts that are held by the businesses that have taken advantage of this program, which could potentially be canceled kind of as they get their paperwork back into our partners at McLaurin and kind of finalize being a part of the program. But at the moment, that's unknown.
Okay, Matt, could you take down the presentation now, because I can't see council members, and so I can't call on them. I think I saw Jonathan with his hand raised, but bear with me for a second here. Jonathan, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, the truck outside my window has taken a pause, and so I'm using this opportunity to just jump in with my comments now when people can hear me. We did talk about this in the Transportation and Transit Committee. I'm sensitive to the staff concerns about funding, but I'm a little confused about those concerns because, unfortunately, this funding revenue from parking is it's down. It's down across the board. I think when you put up the stat, 1,600 folks have canceled their monthly passes. If we look at applying that to this industry, it looks like only 38 of those are associated with this program. So potentially 38 monthly passes out of 1,600 is a teeny tiny amount. I would support moving this program forward, expanding it on a temporary basis as we're still dealing with the effects of COVID. I'm uncomfortable with this idea that we need parking revenue, so let's shift that burden to our service workers and small business owners downtown because they're the only ones that are still going downtown on a regular basis. That feels wrong to me. And so I understand that this funding source is down across the board. I get it. We're going to have to get creative with the upcoming budget, but for the short term, I don't want to put that burden on our on this industry, especially because it's a small number of accounts anyway. So I would support expanding it and letting folks take advantage of it.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody what the purpose of this program was at the beginning. It really was meant to provide some relief to our downtown small businesses, especially restaurants and retail. And the whole idea, I mean, my biggest fear is these businesses won't survive the winter. And we need to help in any way we can. Reducing cost of parking is one thing we can do. Matt, I want to tell you too, you've done an exceptional job managing our parking needs. You've been creative. You know, you've done your part. And what is happening right now has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the insanity of our world right now. So I just want to acknowledge that because I don't know you well, but I know that you're very serious about what you do. And, you know, you take this seriously. You're the finance guy. It's like, yeah, we're going to make money. I get that. And I appreciate that. So, but right now, we are in this world where we're trying to provide some relief. So, to Jonathan's point, I think that's what we're trying to do. Councilmember Branch.
Yes, thank you, and thank you, Matt, for your work. My recommendation would be to extend it. I'm thinking maybe we did 100 spaces. I'm thinking just cap it to 300. And then as far as the funding, I pray that sometime in the next couple of weeks, our federal government will send some funding down for, from what I've read, related to transportation needs and things of that nature, and that we can use some of that to help offset some of our costs. But I think for right now, 300. But also I was looking at, we had a date set for March 31st of possibly extending this at least to the end of April for right now, since we're halfway through January. And then this should help give us a better idea, I think, possibly late March or early April on further extending it. That would be my recommendation and motion for the program.
So your motion is to extend this, to increase the number of parking spaces to 300.
Right.
And then extend the program till the end of April. And we'll
Correct.
evaluate it at that time.
Correct.
Okay, I will second that. Councilor Stewart.
Thank you. The one kind of thing that's weighing on me is like, I just don't want staff to have to come back again if 300 is not enough. And so I did want to ask, Matt, this, the 9 businesses at 62 spaces, was there any note that went out that said our spots are full? Or when did these requests stop coming in? Because I'm wondering if some folks held back on putting in their request in the meantime.
So let me talk through kind of how it was marketed first. So we worked really hard with the DRA, Downtown Raleigh Alliance, to have them reach out to their constituency, which really is the target market of this program. So they've done some really targeted marketing to get it to the specific types of businesses who would apply. We didn't want to send it out very broadly because then we were concerned that we would have a lot of folks apply that wouldn't meet the criteria. So we worked heavily with them to market it. There was a really heavy push those first couple of days. We got a lot of applications. And then over the last week, they've kind of come in a little bit slower. The messaging that we've done when those folks reach out for an application is we let them know, please sign up. This program could very well be expanded. We want to know the need and the demand for the program. We'll reach back out once there's a decision on if the program is expanded or not. So there hasn't been any messaging that says stop. We don't know that or unsure of if anyone has actually stopped applying for the program, but it has slowed down significantly over the last few days.
Councilor Cox.
I just want to be clear. So we've lost 2.3 million in fiscal year 20. and then we're expecting another loss of 5 million in 21. So that would be a total of 7.3 million altogether. When will you be able to provide us information about how we're going to cover that loss?
Yeah, so we've been working very closely with our partners in finance and budget to come up with creative ways within our budget to reduce that. In December, we brought an item forward to defund our capital program for the current year, and that reduced about $2.1 million of capital allocation for us. As we learn more about what the actual loss looks like, as we continue to update projections and learn more about how the market's responding to parking, as we kind of go through this experience, we're updating those projections and working closely with finance to try and nail down what that means and how we'll need to respond to that.
When do you think we'll have information about that, those details?
Yeah, so I know that the Budget and Finance Office gives an update in February to give more information on kind of what that outlook looks like.
Our city manager had her hand raised as well.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just going to add that Mary Viggy from the Office of Budget and Management Services will be providing a budget presentation at our second meeting in February.
Yep. And we have, as everybody knows, we have been monitoring this situation. As Matt mentioned, we had to curtail our capital campaign to offset budget cost. As Councilor Branch mentioned, potentially there could be some funding coming from the federal government directly to cities. We'll have to wait and see if that happens. But there is a motion and a second on the table. I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor? Is anyone opposed? Okay, clerk, that passes unanimously. Normally, I want to acknowledge we do not vote in a work session, but I also felt that this needs to be addressed. If we wait for a next meeting and then put it on the agenda, it wouldn't be coming forward till February. And then some of the businesses who need that assistance would fall by the wayside. So let's move forward, Matt. Continue the great job. And Jonathan Melton has his hand raised again. I think the truck has moved more over to my side of the building now.
Yeah, I just want to add thank you very much for bringing this forward. And I did not want to seem insensitive in my comments about the funding issue. I know that's your job, and I very much appreciate you pushing us on that. I also just want to add that I voted in favor of the motion, but I can't say I'm in favor of the cap. We went through 102 days. This is a larger problem we're going to have to address, but in the interim, it's a short-term solution. And so I think we're going to be seeing staff come back pretty quickly asking for some more, and we'll have to talk about it. But let's keep our working towards this initiative. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Fort?
No, the truck is right behind me, so I think I'm getting the brunt of the noise. But I echo Councilmember Melton's sentiments and support the motion. But I also wanted to follow up on Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Stewart's question about staff being able to expand without coming back to us.
I'm sorry. Was it? If there was a question, I apologize. I may have missed that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'll follow up with you separately afterwards. I'm sorry.
So the question is about the cap. What was the question? Councilmember Branch?
If I can say something, the reason why I chose that number, because I know when we were in committee, we debated between 250 and almost 100 at the time. And by us going through 100 in 2 days, but having 62 in wait, we're still at around 160, 180. So if we're at 180 now, that still gives staff another 120 to work with, and just looking at the businesses. Remember, this only targets businesses, small businesses. So it's in retail and in restaurant. So those are the only businesses this targets, as well as 49 employees or less. So in those businesses. So I think, staff, I think has an idea. We talked so much in committee what the number should be. And, originally 100 wasn't going to be the number, but we left it there because we didn't know the impact. Seeing 180 roughly right now, you still have 120 to go with. I think that should hopefully give staff enough time and businesses. And also, as I pray the economy changes with the vaccine, you'll see people keeping their existing parking system, because this will go away. And that's something that we have to be mindful as well, because if the people get used to something for so long, they think it's permanent. And we got to remind people that this is only a temporary relief until the economy turns for the better.
So it sounds like some of our council members have concern with the 300 cap because they feel that you're going to have to come back to us. What if we said to the city manager, if we hit this 300 number quickly and need to come back, why don't we give the city manager discretion in continuing to move this forward until it can come back to us? In other words, what we don't want to have happen is additional people come forward, they are eligible, and we're sitting at that 300 mark, and then we have to wait another month. Can we just give the city manager some discretion in making a determination on whether to expand the program and then report back to us? Councilmember Branch.
If I can be fair, I just move that we remove the cap. If we're given that discretion, we might as well remove the cap. So my motion would be to remove the cap on the parking program.
Councilmember Fort.
I second his motion.
Question.
Yes, Councilmember Cox and Buffkin.
Okay, so so we give direction that we remove the cap. I mean, what if we have 2,000 come forward and want relief?
Next, we have Councilmember Buffkin and then Councilmember Stewart.
So that's my question. It could spiral out of control without some other reason.
That seems to be a rhetorical question, so let's let Councilor Buffkin, then Councilor Stewart. I think she wanted to respond to you, Councilor Cox. So Councilor Buffkin.
Thank you, Mayor. I actually had the same question. I thought the idea with the cap was to kind of take this incremental approach, see how things go, monitor the situation. What's the effect of lifting the cap? It seems that we have taken a manageable and measured loss of revenue and turned it into something that is unknown and unknowable. And I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that. So the question then for staff, Mayor, is, what is the effect of removing the cap financially and program management and within the budget context, which I think is what Mr. Cox was asking.
Then Councilor Stewart.
Oh, Mayor, that was a question for staff.
I want Councilor Stewart. She was looking to respond to Councilor Cox. So let's have this discussion and then we'll go back to staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Buffkin and Cox, I think those are fair questions. I do also think, though, that we're moving this forward out of a priority for helping our small businesses. And that has been our focus. Knowing that we quickly ran through 100, that we have very little interest, it seems, from this conversation, and having staff continue to come back to us and ask for a cap increase, and knowing that there is a limited number of small businesses still open and operating in downtown at this moment, I don't think that having a cap is going to negatively impact us in a way that we're going to be able to distinguish from any other COVID impact. The other thing that I've been reminded over and over again is our parking decks are sitting empty right now. Folks aren't using them. And so it's not really, sorry, parenting at home, at lunchtime nonetheless. So we're not losing revenue because we're pushing people out of decks. The decks aren't being used right now. So I continue to see the positives in supporting our small business community in this moment, using that as a priority, figuring out all of our parking costs at a later point in time, as that cost will continue to be an issue whether we do this now or not. I'm happy with a cap, but I think it's just more work to keep coming back to us. And so I'm very happy with let's just let staff run this program and and work with DRA to make sure that we're getting it to the right people.
Matt, do you want to address this?
Sure. There are a few logistical issues if the program gets very large. One, procuring that number of access cards quickly. We could get to a situation if there is heavy demand in individual decks that we may need to take those off of the available roster of decks. When people sign up, they choose their top 3 parking decks that they would like access to. So we have built into the application the ability for us to give them maybe their second choice if, the first choice deck is being filled up through this program. So we do have steps, already in place to help mitigate, a larger than expected program. The only other risk out there is if the program gets very large and office buildings and such come back, it would reduce our ability to sell monthly parking at decks that people may want to be in. So there is the risk of a very large program could impact our ability to sell monthly parking or daily, parking to people who are actively coming downtown and wanting to use it.
Well, I sense that there's some tension with no cap versus 300. I'm just going to throw this out there and say, what if we capped it at 400? And then we can reassess where we are. That would cover, if it's 10 businesses at 400, somebody do the math for me. A maximum of 10 businesses.
It's a maximum of 10 spaces per business. So
yeah.
That's 40 businesses.
Or is everybody comfortable with the 400 number? As a compromise. Could I have some acknowledgement?
Well, I was just going to say there was a motion and a second to remove the cap, so I'd call a question on that vote first.
I'm not going to support that.
Is that an amendment to the motion, the 400?
I will make an amendment as a compromise.
And I accept it.
Okay, thank you. All right, 400 cap, all in favor, please raise your hands. Anyone opposed? No. Okay, thank you, clerk. You got that, was unanimous. Thank you everyone for kind of coming together on this. Matt, thank you. I know you have a difficult job right now. Thanks for working with us on this and moving things forward. Clerk?
Madam Mayor, just want to clarify, we're extending the program to April 30th with the 400 cap, correct?
Yeah, 400 cap, extending it to the end of April. Okay. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a point of clarification. The budget item will appear on our first budget work session, and that is scheduled for February 22nd, not our 19th agenda. Just wanted to clarify the dates.
Okay, thank you. All right, everyone. I am going to adjourn the meeting. We'll see you all back here at 1 o'clock, get some lunch, and see you back here soon. Thank you.